What I'm sitting in front of is the 2024 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. This is basically a 458, but in an M3 form. This car is going against C63s, M3s, but is it really the best bang for your buck is a question that a lot of people have. This has 505 horsepower with 443 pound-feet of torque. Coming around inside, you can see here, we have carbon buckets all on the inside and sport design seats in the back. Carbon fiber on the dash, carbon fiber on the center console, literally everywhere. You come back around to the front, you can see you got these beautiful 4-piston brakes in the front, and it's all finished in this awesome paint. Carbon fiber front lip, and actually, if I'm able to pop the hood for you, you can see there's something very special under here. So coming around, let's see if we can pop the hood. Opening up, there'll be one major thing that you notice with this car. The entire hood is made out of carbon fiber. Coming around here, you can see this is 2.9 liter twin turbo V6. Like I said, basically a 458, just on the smaller form factor in a sedan version. And when we get inside, you'll actually notice that it sounds a lot like a 458, deriving that sound from it. Coming around to the inside of the car, you have your start stop button, just like the Ferrari. Foot on the brake. You have 3 drive modes: dynamic, natural, and advanced. And we're gonna move over to dynamic, opening up those valves back there. We're gonna go windows down for this. We're gonna head out onto the main road, and I'll see you guys there. As we're heading out onto the main road, we're gonna go dial to the right. You can see our performance gauges with our boost and everything there. I'm gonna move the car into manual mode now. Heading out onto the main road right here. You're gonna do a quick little pull up to the speed limit. See how this car moves. So moving pretty well up there. We're gonna go windows back up on that. This car does feel a lot like a Ferrari. One thing that I noticed is this car in first gear does not make any boost. So let's see if I can, next time I'm gonna make a U-turn around, I can show you guys a little demonstration of what that looks like. So coming down here, we're gonna make a U-turn right here. I'll show you guys what I mean about that no boost in first gear thing. So we're gonna be on it. And then boost starts to kick in right there. But it's a very linear power band. Maybe in race mode, you might see something different in terms of how the car handles boost and other things like that. But I know race mode turns off stability, traction, and just a few other things. Right now we're in dynamic. So what that does is it's just, you know, opening up the valves, doing a little bit more fuel tweaking and that kind of stuff. But if you've heard earlier, this does sound a lot like a Ferrari when you hear it. All right, now we're gonna be heading onto a little bit of a fun road here. See if we can get some cool raw audio of the car going on. Pulling up to the speed limit there, this car moves very well. If you guys can't tell already, this is a very fun car. Oh crap. I know exactly what that is right there. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? That's a cop down there. We're gonna go the other way. Okay, just after that little occurrence there, we're gonna head back onto the main road. Do another quick pull. No boost yet. And then you can see it kicks in a little bit of boost there, and that's full boost. Those crispy downshifts right there, as you can hear. Making a left turn. Come on, I'll show you guys what I mean about that no boost again. Can't tell, the boost doesn't kick in first gear, which might be a difference between the modes. Not going to try out race mode today, just, you know, in terms of testing and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to keep traction stability on for this car, but it is odd that you don't get that boost in first gear. So right now in dynamic, we're going to move over to advanced, and a cool feature you'll notice about this is it actually lowers the boost of your turbo, so you can see the gauges right there. I'm going to do a quick first gear pull. And it actually is auto shifting for me there. So you can see I'm clicking the paddles, but I'm actually noticing at the same time that it's auto shifting for me, which is a little bit odd, but you still get those amazing raw V6 sounds that this car makes. They're gonna move over into natural to see if we can tell any much of a difference in this mode. Do second gear pull. So there we're feeling boost, but it's also not as much boost as dynamic. Let's see, we're gonna move it into dynamic now, and then you can maybe hear those valves start to open up. The car gets a whole lot more aggressive. All right, we're heading back. We're gonna do a quick speed limit pull again. Second gear, and boost loading, and we're getting on it. This car really does get up there, but the question is that everybody wants to know is this better than an M3? Coming down to my personal thoughts, this is more of a contender with an F80, I feel like. I feel like the G80, beats this in terms of technology, without a doubt. But this is reminding me a lot of F80 technology. Even though this is digital display, you kind of still get that analog feel. And coming over here, it reminds me a lot of how CarPlay and stuff is shown on the F80s. But the G80s in terms of technology, especially with the 2023 variants and that kind of stuff, you get that huge screen that stretches across the front. This feels a lot more driver focused, start stop button being right on the wheel. You get the carbon here, carbon down here, carbon across there. It just feels so much more driver focused, especially with, suspension and all that kind of stuff. And the aero that this car comes with factory does feel like it would be a much better stock for stock track car than an M3. But obviously, if we're talking about in terms of dailying, I feel like both are very good, but the M3 may have this beat. I didn't get the chance to try out comfort seats in the Alfa Romeo. These bucket seats are actually amazing. They're made by Sparco, but going up with comfort seats versus comfort seats on the M3 may be a much bigger difference in terms of, daleability and that kind of stuff. And looking back, this car, I forgot to mention, has a ZF8 transmission. So this is the same transmission I believe used in the M340s and 340s. So you notice it does look very similar to it. You put in your drive modes, go to manual, just like that. You can use your center console knob to shift. Pulling back up to our stop, we're gonna go right this. Perfect crispy downshifts. All right, so coming back to a stop here, we're going to put the car in park. Start stop button here. Getting out, you can see that little display right there. Let's grab our key, can't forget this. And we're gonna move out. I'm gonna let you know on my final thoughts of this car and what I think. Now, in terms of daleability, would I daily this car? 100%. Do I think it dailies better than a G80 M3? No. Do I think it drives better than, say, a C63 or a G80 M3? I'd say yes. This feels a lot more raw. It feels like you're a lot more driver focused. Now, I haven't seen any Alfa Romeos tuned yet, or gotten to drive any that are tuned. But with my experience driving tuned Mercedes and tuned BMWs, I noticed that their platform is actually much better with that tuning capability. Although now BMW does start to lock their ECUs, making it a little bit more difficult for consumers to tune their cars. But in terms of Alfa Romeo tuning, I haven't gotten to dive into that yet and see how it is. But overall, this car does handle very well, and it gives me a 8.5 out of 10 on my driver score.